Welcome to the Home Designer Home Office Training Seminar. Today we will be covering a complete home office design which will take about an hour. Before we begin, I would like to go over the GoToMeeting control panel. The first option is the audio. The standard is use mic and speakers. If you can't hear me correctly, double-check the volume on your computer. Otherwise, select the audio setup and that will give you some more controls to level out the audio. If that's still not working correctly, use the telephone option. By selecting the Use Telephone Radio button, a new phone number and access code will appear for you to use. Next, we have the questions area. You can type in any questions you may have throughout this training. We will be getting to all of your questions today. There are quite a few people attending, so please allow a few minutes for a response. If you don't see the large control panel, it is minimized to a little icon that locates to the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the arrows to restore the complete control panel, which gives you access to your audio control as well as the questions area. Today I will be using Home Designer Professional. We offer many different types of programs to meet your design needs. For our complete home office design, I will be going over the program toolbar. We'll draw out the walls and I'll show you how to dimension. Then we'll place doors and windows. I will continue by creating a custom bookcase using the cabinet tools, create a tray ceiling, change and create custom materials, and add crown, chair, and base moldings. Then we'll place furniture in our design and talk about the electrical tools. If you have any questions throughout, use the GoToMeeting questions area so you can get all of your questions answered during the training. Let's go ahead and get started using Home Designer Pro. When you create a new plan within all Home Designer programs, you have a few options. These are the different templates that we have available. I'll be using the default style for today. As we work our way down the list, you can see the image changes with different materials, different colors, different doors, different cabinet styles, so you can choose these different options before you get started. You can also specify units of measurement. I'll be using US units today. If you need to use metric, select that radio button before you start your plan. We also offer a few different template categories to choose from. The second option is interior templates. These are defined living spaces that you can open and work with. We have a bathroom, a kitchen, a few different living rooms, a child's room. This is a great way to get started, or you can start your plan from scratch using the home style templates. I already have a plan open, so I'll go ahead and cancel this dialog box for now. At the top of our screen, we have our default toolbar. The first tool is our Select Objects. Next, we have our Straight Wall tool. When I select the Straight Wall tool, I have a variety of other wall options appear on the right-hand side. This is called our Parent-Child option. You can change this from the drop-down menu to the Parent-Child through your preferences. Under Appearance, under Toolbars, you can specify Parent-Child or drop-down. Let's go ahead and get started using our straight exterior wall. I'm going to click in the plan and just drag my mouse. Notice the temporary dimensions that appear. I'll just click down again and the walls will automatically snap together. I also get an indicator letting me know that my walls are parallel. I'll next select our straight interior wall and finish up our living area. When I connect my four walls, I have a living area defined for me down below. Let's take a look at this in our 3D view. We have our perspective view tools at the top of the screen. Here we have our full camera, our full overview to include a roof, a dollhouse view, and our framing overview. I'll be using the dollhouse view for now. Next to our Select Objects tool in our 3D view, we have a Move Camera with Mouse option. This allows me to rotate my 3D model around. Notice that the wall color, the molding, the floor material, my siding, everything that you see here has been defined in my default settings. I will exit out of my 3D view by selecting the gray X in the upper right-hand corner. You can change your defaults by double-clicking on any tool within the program. I'll double-click on Exterior-Interior Wall, and here I have the option of choosing a predefined wall type, or I can select Define if I want to create my own. I can then save this for later use. We'll go ahead and draw one more interior wall, and then we'll dimension. Our dimension tools are located at the top of our screen. It looks like this ruler. Here we have our manual dimension, end-to-end, angular, interior, point-to-point, auto exterior, and a tape measure tool. The auto exterior is a great feature. If I select that once, you can see that all my exterior dimensions appear. I'll go ahead and undo that for right now. I'm going to dimension a different way. By selecting a wall, you see that my temporary dimensions appear. I can either change the dimension of that one wall, I can select this and type in 31 feet, and I am going to specify the foot marker, or the program will default to inches. You can also set this up in your default settings. I'll hit Enter on my keyboard, and that will update. Now I'll select the perpendicular dimension with that top wall still selected, and we'll make this 18 feet. Now I'll select this interior wall, make this room 18 feet, and this room is already 13 feet, which is what I wanted. Now let's go ahead and take a different 3D view. Using our perspective view tools again, I'm going to use our full camera. I'm going to click where I'd be standing in my room and drag to my focus point. At the top of our screen, we have our door tools. Here we have our hinge door, a doorway, sliding door, pocket, bifold, and a garage door. I will select our doorway, bring my cursor down into my plan, and I get an indicator of where that door will be placed. I'll click once to place it. To open up a door to make changes, I can either double-click, or I can select the door and at the bottom of our screen, select our Open Objects button. Double-clicking on anything within Home Designer will open up the specification dialog. Let's start by changing the width to 6 feet. I'll hit Tab on my keyboard to see this update. We'll make the height 9 feet, and let's add an arch. We'll select Broken Arch and make the height of this 12 inches. Now that I see what exactly my doorway will look like, I'll hit OK, and that will update in my 3D view. We'll exit out of this 3D view, and let's take a different camera looking at this wall. Let's add some windows. Back up to the top of our screen, here's our window tools. We have our basic window, bay window, box, bow, and a pass-through tool. I'll just select our standard window and place one in the room. I'll then double-click to open it up, and let's make some changes. Under the window type, I will specify fixed glass. We'll keep the width 36, but this time we'll change the height to 65. You can see the update appear. Now let's make a copy of this window. With it selected, I'll come down to the bottom of our screen and select Copy Paste. This will allow me to make another copy. I'll bump those together, make one more copy, and bump that as well. Back to the top of our screen, I'm going to add one more window up above. I'll double-click on this and make a few more changes. We'll also make this one a fixed glass. We're going to change the width to 112 inches. We'll make it 27 inches high, and we'll make our floor to bottom height 109. I'm going to add a broken arch just like I did with my doorway. And under our Lights tab, we'll add a few lights. You can also add window treatments, shutters, and so forth through this window specification dialog. Now you can see the window that we've modified. I want to make sure that everything is centered correctly on this wall. So with the window selected, I'll come down to the bottom of our screen and I have a tool called Center Object. I will just make sure this is centered with my center window. and it did bump over just a little bit. Now I'll go ahead and multi-select my windows by holding Control on my keyboard. Now we'll just make sure that these windows are centered in my room. You can see that they shifted just a little bit. Back to our 2D view, I want to start working on our tray ceiling. I'm going to create this ceiling using our soffit tools. The soffit tools are located at the top of our screen under the cabinets. Here we have our base cabinet, a wall cabinet, full height, our soffit tool, shelf and partition, and a custom countertop. I will select our soffit and click once to place. I will then select it again, and using my editing arrows, just drag this across the room. With my soffit still selected, I'm going to make a copy and then use another tool at the bottom called Reflect About Object. This gives me an indicator where I want to reflect it about, and I want to reflect it on the center of the room, so I'll click, and now I have a soffit on the other side. Let's do the same type of thing to this side of the room. Place a soffit, we'll drag this out, make a copy, and reflect it about the other side of the room. Now let's look at what we did in our 3D view. I'm going to use our full camera again, so I'll click and drag. Now you can see the soffits at the top of our room. I'm going to get into a 2D and a 3D view. At the top of our screen, under Window, I will come down to Tile Vertically. This allows me to work in both a 2D and a 3D view. I will select our 2D plan and zoom in using the scroll wheel on my mouse. I will multi-select on all of my soffits and open them up using the Open Object tool at the bottom of our screen. Under Moldings, I'm going to add a new. I can browse through the architectural area of our catalog and find the crown molding that I like. I'll hit OK, and we're going to change the height to 10 inches and make it 3.5 inches wide. I'll hit OK, and you can see the crown molding that appears at the top of our screen. Now let's go ahead and make some more modifications to our room. I'm going to double-click on the 3D view and open up the room by double-clicking. Under our moldings, I'm going to uncheck Default and delete the default base molding. I'm going to add a new one, and this time we're going to add a chair rail. I'll browse through and see which one I like. We're going to change the height of this to 2 inches, and we are going to mark this to the bottom, and we're going to change the type to a chair rail. Make sure the floor to bottom height, we'll make this 50 inches to the bottom. And I'll hit OK, and you can see that I have my chair rail. Let's open up this room again, and let's add a base molding now. So I'll find my base molding. We'll make this 3 inches, and let's mark this as base, and hit OK. And now I have my base molding. Changing materials within Home Designer is a very easy process and can be done a few different ways. I'll start by double-clicking on my room, and under Wall Coverings, we're going to add a new. I want a wood material, so I'm going to search for birch. I'll browse through and find one I like, and then I'll hit OK. Let's go ahead and make the floor to bottom height 0. And we'll make the height of this 50 inches. Now you can see that that just covers the bottom portion of my wall. Let's get into our library browser. At the top of our screen under Library, we have a library browser. This is where all of your custom items are stored, as well as the generic content and manufacturer catalogs. We're going to search for this Hershey material. I've already found this brown material that I like, so I'm going to select the material and apply it to our birch. I just stained the material. You can see at the bottom we have a few different components. I can just paint the material on, or I can blend it with the material so that birch texture comes through. Another way you can change wall coloring is by double-clicking on the room. Under Material, I'll select Walls. We'll open this up, and I'm going to search for a color called Storm. It's a blue color that I found, and I really like it. So we'll just hit OK, OK again, and you can see that that's now been applied to the upper portion of my wall. I'll use our material eyedropper located at the top of our screen, pick up our Storm material, and we have a few different options at the bottom of our screen. We have a Material Painter Component Mode, Object, Room, Floor, and Plan. With Component Mode selected, I'm just going to paste the material on each soffit. I'll rotate around just a little bit and copy that one as well. Let's go ahead and exit out of this 3D view, and I'm just going to take a different angle here. So I'll get back into my perspective view and take a shot this way. I'll finish off by pasting that color to the soffit, and let's also pick up this birch material and apply it to our ceiling. So it's coming along pretty well, but I do want to change the flooring material also. Within my library, I have found a manufacturer flooring that I'd like to use from the Armstrong catalog. You can browse through tons of manufacturer catalogs through our website, and they are all stored within your library. At the end of the presentation, I'll show you where to find these on the website. Here's the one that I found. I'll select my material and apply it to the floor. We have the option to adjust the material definition using this rainbow tool at the top of our screen next to our material eyedropper. I'll select our Adjust Material Definition and select the floor. Under the Texture tab, I can change the angle. We'll make this 45 degrees. Now you can see that the flooring material has been adjusted. Let's go ahead and get back into our 2D view, and let's begin working on our custom bookcase. I'm going to create a custom bookcase using our cabinet tools. So I'll take a 3D view looking at this wall, and at the top of our screen under our cabinet tools, I'm going to select our wall cabinet. I'll just place this into our plan, and then we'll double-click to open it up. We're going to make many modifications to this cabinet. First, we're going to change the height to 98 inches. We'll change the width to 48, 18-inch depth, and we'll make our floor to bottom height 0 since I want this to sit on the floor. I can also select this 2D image, which will automatically bring me to the Front tab. I'm going to delete this door. And we're going to work on our face items. So the first one that I would like is going to be a separation, and we're going to change the height of this separation to 4 inches. We'll come down to face item number 2, and we're going to make this a double door. We'll go ahead and change this height to 11 1/4. I'm hitting Tab to see this update. We'll drop down to face item number 3, and we'll make this separation 1.5 inches. We'll do our fourth item as an opening, and we'll specify this as 77 1/4 inch. This is the area where I'm going to have my books stored for my bookcase, so we'll specify the shelves. I will select Manual, and let's make 4 shelves. Let's make the thickness 2 inches. We'll hit OK, and now I can see my update. We'll move on to our face item number 5, and this is going to be a 4-inch separation. Now let's go to our Molding tab and add a crown molding and a base molding. So we'll just browse through the library. I'm going to use the same crown molding as I did for my ceiling, and I can see that appear at the top. We'll add a new one, do a base molding, and I'm going to make this 4 inches. Now that I can see where this is being placed, I'll just hit OK. And now you can see what's been created. Within our library, I have found a glass panel, and there are many glass panel options available in the library. I've just stored this so I could find it easier. If I select this glass panel, I can apply it to my doors. Let's use our material eyedropper to just match up these materials. Looks like the crown molding and the base molding are a different material. Within the library browser, let's search for glass. I can browse through here and we'll use this antique glass, and I'll just apply it to our doors. We can then adjust this material definition. Under Properties, I can change the transparency. Now it's a little bit more transparent. Let's go ahead and get back into our cabinet tools, and we're going to add some pilasters on either side. So I'm going to use our wall cabinet again, place this in my plan, double click, and we're going to make many more modifications to this one as well. We'll make this 98 inches, we'll make this 6 inches wide, a depth of 18, and the floor to bottom height is 0 since we want it to touch our floor. To our front tab, we're going to create a lot of different face items here. The first one, we're going to make a 4-inch separation for our crown molding. We'll come down to face item number 2 and specify a door panel. And we're going to make this 12 inches high. Face item number 3, that'll be another separation of 6 inches. Number 4 will be another door panel. And we'll go ahead and make this one 42 inches. We'll just work our way down, adding separations and then door panels. To our door panel, we'll make this one 26 inches. And that looks pretty good. So now under our Moldings tab, let's go ahead and add our crown molding just like we did to the bookcase. And let's also add our base molding. Again, we're going to make this 4 inches from the bottom. So here's the pilaster that we've created. We created this whole thing just using a wall cabinet, so you can see just how customized you can make your objects. So now that that has been completed, I want to make a copy. So I will copy and paste this and just drag it out. Let's use our material eyedropper to paint the crown molding and the base molding. Now I'll select our pilaster and just drag it next to our bookcase. And here's the custom bookshelf that we've just created. Let's get back into our 2D view, and I'm going to make this encased in the wall. We're going to do a built-in bookcase. So I'll exit out of here, and let's go ahead and break these walls. I'm going to close my library browser for now. And let's go ahead and get into our cabinet tools. I'll select our wall cabinet, and holding Shift on my keyboard, I'm going to marquee around this bookcase and just drag it out to the middle of the room for right now. Using our Break Wall tool at the top of our screen, I'm just going to select 2 different areas. Then I'll select this little area that we just broke and just drag this out. I'm going to make sure that my soffit doesn't come with me, so I'll pull that back into the room. And we'll just drag this out a little bit more. I'm going to select our wall, select this temporary dimension, and make this 1 foot 9 inches, and hit Enter on my keyboard. I will then use our straight exterior wall and just connect these walls together. Now we'll marquee around our bookcase again, and I'm just going to drag this right into place. I'll select this wall and just bump it up. Now let's take a look at this in our 3D view. So I'll just click and drag, and you can now see that the bookcase is in the room. I'm going to split my screens again to work in both a 2D and a 3D view. And I need to add a soffit above my bookcase in that new wall that we created. So we'll just place this soffit and drag it across. Now in our 2D view, let's use that material eyedropper. Now let's go ahead and add a painting above our bookcase. I'm going to use our orthographic camera tools. This includes a cross-section elevation, back-clipped cross-section, wall elevation, orthographic full, dollhouse, and framing overview. I'm just going to use our cross-section tool and click and drag towards my bookcase. And you can see the window that pops up. I'll go ahead and drag this over on this side so we can see our perspective and our orthographic view. Let's get back into my library. Move this over just a bit. Within my folder, I've already added a frame that I found from the library. I'll select this frame and just place it above our bookcase. I'll then double-click on the frame, and we're going to make some modifications. I'll make this 32 inches high. The width is okay at 60 inches. And the floor to bottom height, we're going to modify just a little. We'll make this 108. We'll hit OK, and you can see that now it's positioned correctly. To add an image to the picture, I'm going to use the Adjust Material Definition. I'll select on the image, and under Texture, we're going to find a texture file that I've stored on the computer. So I will browse for this, and within this folder, I have found a picture of the Sawtooth Mountains. I'll open this up. I can then do my scaling. I have selected Stretch to Fit, so it fits across the whole frame. We'll hit OK. And those type of images do not appear in orthographic views. So we'll just close that camera, and you can see that now the picture is in the frame in this 3D view. We're going to go ahead and close this 3D view, maximize our 2D, and we're going to start placing our furniture items. Let's go ahead and split our screens again so we're working in both a 2D and a 3D view. A shortcut of doing this is holding Shift on your keyboard and hitting F6. You can also go to the window and tiling options. The first thing I want to do is go to Accessory folder I've created, and all these items that you find are in the default catalog. I've just stored them here so I could find them a little bit easier. We're going to start with our area rug. I'm just going to click in our room and place it. I can then select the object, and using this triangle at the bottom, I can rotate this rug around. I've created an architectural block and added it to my plan. An architectural block is simply a group of items blocked together to create one item. I'm going to place this right outside of our plan, and we're going to talk about placing objects. So if I were to just take this architectural block and try to move it, it doesn't let me go into the room because the snaps are turned on. To temporarily turn off snaps or to freely move objects, hold Control on your keyboard. This is going to alleviate a lot of frustration when trying to place items. Just remember that Control key. Now I can move this anywhere I'd like. And now it's placed right on top of our rug. Let's go ahead and add a few more items. We have a bookcase here that I've created. So we'll just drag this against the wall. And we have a shelf that I've also created. This was created using the shelf and partition tools, and those can be found at the top of our screen under our cabinet tools, the shelf and the partition. So that's how I created that bookcase up above. Once an item has been placed, you can explode the architectural block. Select it at the bottom of our screen, hit Explode Architectural Block, and now you can see that I can move each individual item. Let's add a few more items. We'll go ahead and add a trash can. And let's add a lamp on top of our table. So here's a lamp that I found from the library. I'm going to place it right onto our desk, and notice that it falls to the floor. I'm going to select this in our 3D view and just drag it up on top of our desk. A little bit more there. There we go. Now let's start talking about adding items to a bookshelf. We'll rotate around in our view and just zoom in. So I've grouped together a bunch of books and some flowers that I want to add to my bookcase. So I'll just place that into our plan, select it, hold Control, and drag it onto our bookcase. Now that was pretty easy. I've already positioned everything correctly. So let's add a few storage boxes below, and I'll show you how this is done. So I'll place a few boxes in the room. We'll multi-select and drag these onto the bookcase. Now notice in our 3D view, these are a little bit short, so I'm going to select both of them and just drag this up. Now it's meeting the bottom of the shelf. If you know the exact dimensions of your shelf, you can open this up and change the floor to bottom height. Now let's go ahead and take a different 3D view looking at the other side of our room. And let's add a plant and a chair. So we'll tile our views again. I like adding items in a 2D view. It's easier for me to do. However, you can add items in both views. So we'll add our plant, and we'll also add a chair. I'll just rotate this around, position it correctly. Remember, you can freely move objects using the Control key. And I've also found this sun decal I'd like to add to the wall. Over in our sitting room, I've added an architectural block to my library that I'd like to add into this room. So I'll just come over here and browse through my library, and we'll just place this sitting room, and then we'll move it against the wall. There we go. You can also add window treatments quite easily within the program. I've already found these Roman shades from the library that I'd like to add. So I'll just click once to place them in the plan, and we'll just add these right to the bottom of our window and drag this up. Now we'll make a copy of this and drag it to our next window. One more copy for the third one. You can also add window treatments by double-clicking on the window, and under Window Treatments, you can add curtains and blinds, browse through different things through the library, so you have full control over this. You can also add a backdrop to your plan. I'll just maximize this view. You can search for many different backdrops throughout our library. I've found this backdrop that I like, so I'll just add this to my windows. Also, if you want to take a picture of something you actually look out onto, you can import that JPEG image and apply that as your backdrop. So I'm just going to click the image, click inside my windows, and then I can rotate my view around, so I get a very realistic view of what I'll actually be looking on. Now let's get out of this 3D view. Actually, let's just tile our screens again. I like working in the 3D view. And let's go ahead and talk about more lighting options. Within our 2D plan, we can add electrical. At the top of our screen, we have our electrical tools. Here we have our 110-volt outlet, 220-volt, recessed light, switch, connect electrical tool, and our auto place outlets. By selecting auto place outlets, I can click once in my room and all my outlets will have been placed. If I want to move these around, I can do so, or select backspace on my keyboard to get rid of it. Back to the electrical tools, let's add a few recessed lights. I'm going to add just a few lights in the room right here. And you can see those appear in my 3D view. Let's go ahead and add a few more to this side. You can also turn these lights on or off by selecting the light and hitting off, or I can open up the light, and under Light Data, I can change the intensity. So we want to make that a little bit brighter. We can actually make all these a little bit brighter, I think. So we'll go to Light Data, and we'll just make that 500 lumens. So now it's a little bit brighter in there. Currently, we are in a standard 3D view. We have lots of other rendering options available at the top of our screen. We offer a vector view, which is line-based. You can also toggle the color on or off on the right-hand side. We have a glass house, technical illustration, and a watercolor. You can also make changes to any of these rendering options. We'll just hit OK here, go back to our standard view, and rotate around to get one last image of our office. So everything turned out pretty well. You can see the lights in the ceiling, my outlets on the wall, our tray ceiling that we've created, all the furniture we've added, our backdrop carries over, our custom windows, doors, materials. So within the Home Designer product line, you have a lot of flexibility. That's going to wrap up our presentation for today. However, there are a few things on the website that I'd like to cover. So I'll go ahead and bring that up right now. On our website, homedesignersoftware.com, we offer many different resources to help you learn the software. At the top of our screen, we have a few different drop-down menus. The first one is Products. If you bring your cursor down to Product Chooser and select the Compare All Products link, this will give you a detailed description of what each Home Designer product has to offer. This will help you make a decision about which home design product is best for you. We also offer upgrade discounts. If you have an older version, or maybe you don't quite have the highest level of home design software, you can come down to upgrades and discounts to find out what your rebate will be. Under the User Center, we have many different catalogs that you can download into your program. There are tons of bonus catalogs as well as manufacturer catalogs that you can download. These are all stored in your library browser within the program. Also under the User Center, we offer nearly 100 training videos to help you learn the software. You can select your Home Designer program, and all applicable videos will appear. We also offer free training webinars. We have many of them throughout the month, so you can come here to sign up, or you can sign up on the home page. Under Support, we have a help database. This is a great way to find how-to articles. You can also view a whole list of articles by clicking this link. Here's an article that applies to what we did today. How do I edit the shelves inside my cabinets? We can just browse through here, and it'll show us step-by-step what to do in order to create this. Also under our Support dropdown, you have access to a user forum called Home Talk. This is a great resource to find local Home Designer users, or if you just want to communicate with current users, check out that user forum. If you have not done so already and you're just evaluating the software, you can download a free trial version of the Home Designer Pro, which is what we use today. On the Home Designer Professional page, come down to the bottom here where it says Download a free trial version, and you can request that right from here. All Home Designer programs are based off our professional-grade software, Chief Architect. Each program is very powerful and offers a lot of great design tools. It is also very user-friendly. Take advantage of the free training videos, help database, and user forum, as these are put in place to help our users become proficient in the program. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new purchases and upgrades. so you have a full month to make sure the software is meeting your needs. If you have any last-minute questions, please feel free to chat those in. We'll be on for just a few more minutes. If you need help choosing a product or have additional questions, don't hesitate to send us an email at sales@chiefarchitect.com or give us a call on our toll-free or local number. Thank you so much for attending. It was a pleasure to go over the software with you. If you have any last-minute questions, just chat those in, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.